We're back.
Hey, Keldor, we're back.
We were still
earpiece.
discussing the game.
Well, poor Trick was having trouble with the wind wins and the wins.
Yeah.
So we were.
I'm just gonna call him
Yeah.
Thunder from now on.
Oh, that's
That's
good.
a really
That's
good
also
name.
good.
Mm.
And we were talking a lot about what happened in the last game there. Feels like late team fights is really where CE excels, but the shot calling or making the strategy that they draft really work in the mid game seems to be a bit of a weakness. That Sylvana is not willing to get a lot of value in from a strategy perspective, but once you're in the team fight, that silent just hits 5 people.
Yeah, it can be difficult. Obviously, the Genji was locking her down in the early game, but I would love to see a little bit more decisiveness that allows for them to take control and run from those games. Because if we had that in both game 1 and game number 2, is Team Face Check even in a spot here where they can even beat CE?
That's the big question
Yeah.
now that they're facing elimination in the next game. But what impresses me for CE is, although they may be drafting from a perspective where they told us, hey, we favor macro play, they're drafting things that let them stay in the game in a way that they can still win the late game team fights, right? They had Falstad game 1, they had Sylvanas game 2, so they could get some easy structures. So whether it was accidental or on purpose, it seems to be working for them here in the series.
Very few of the teams that told us that they are going to focus heavily on the macro game have actually focused heavily on the macro game.
That's true.
Most of them drafted maybe a global, but then they went into team fights all game long. So I don't trust these guys anymore. But I definitely like what we're seeing in this series, because I expected CE to be way more dominant than they are right now, and Team Face Check definitely brings the fight to them. But we're going to head into our third map now to check out which map battleground we're going to play the next map on to get a bit of an idea what to expect here. We already had Sky Temple and Infernal Shrines, and now for the third map, it is going to be Dragonshire. So when we're talking macro, when we're talking globals, this is the perfect map to show it off.
Yeah, there will likely be more of those. Definitely a Dahaka somewhere between these two teams. I do think that TFC, and we talked about it obviously on the break, is making a lot of good decisions. The decision to push down mid when they knew that CE felt so much obligation to make sure that they got the shrine so that they would get the Punisher with Sylvanas. They abused that, and they took out the keep in mid. It was just the fight afterward that was the issue.
Yeah.
To me, it's really, they make a lot of good decisions, and they make one that is really completely
They just have one
wrong,
that fail.
and everything is thrown away.
Yeah.
The 19 or 20 versus 19 fight where they say, this is a great fight for us to take at the very wrong spot. Then they push the keep in the second map. Fantastic choice there, forcing the opponent back. And then they say, guys, we need to fight outside of the Punisher. Then they fight inside the Punisher range in a chokehold point where Tyrael can split them with a Holy Ground. So it's these late game decisions that I feel it robs them of games that they more or less win.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
think one of the ways to describe it is that Team Face Check literally pinches their opponents into spots where they make those small mistakes, but it's enough for them to stay in the game. And then you get to late game in CE with Wind, who comes in and says, you know what, I'm
Got
going
it.
to open the door for everyone here and makes the victories happen. You know, Wind, so far, is probably my favorite player of the tournament.
Who's your
Wind.
favorite player?
Wind.
I'm so proud of you.
3 times in a row, you did it.
Nailed it.
Tyrael banned out this time. Team Face Check really respecting Wind on that hero. So
Do they want Tassadar? Because they left it up. They've been banning out Tassadar throughout the majority of the tournament. No, they leave him up and get Stitches anyway.
It's been
can
a
you
lot of
blame them
Stitches
after the last
bans.
game?
A lot of Stitches bans, Stitches up. A lot of Genji bans, and Genji is still up too.
But I have to say that Win on the Tyrael impressed me on the last games more than any other Tyrael player
Same.
so far. He really made those fights happen for them. But now we have our old shoot and try friend back in the game. It's time for Illidan. Top lane value right here. And Rich has talked about it. Why draft a Haka when you can draft Illidan?
Especially with a Tassadar. Suddenly,
Oh,
melee
yeah.
assassin just gets empowered.
Yeah, that is such a powerful rotation of 2 picks for CE. They get a strong top laner in Illidan, one who gives them a global post 10. They have Tassadar, who can either enable up there in case they do run into a situation where they need a 2-1-2, or Tassadar enables somebody like Lunara or a Vala to be able to be strong in the rotations between mid-bot. It is a flexible pick. It's one that brings wave clear to a battleground where wave clear is ultimately important. So those 2 picks say a lot for CE and how they want to play out this third game.
And for Team FaceCheck at the same time, I'm really curious if you're going to see them speccing into anti-Illidan picks. We talked a lot about Arthas, and he was a high priority for every single team that had to face an Illidan.
Uther Arthas would be amazing for me.
Yeah, Uther would be great as well, the stun combos that we've seen, but they go into the Cassia together with Arthas. So Arthas already fantastic, but I feel that if you're playing with Cassia and you're trying to put the pressure on Illidan, you need to have a bit more lockdown. Howling Blast is already great. If you can get that connected, fantastic, but it's a lot easier if you have an Uther and you can go for the point and click stun.
The problem there was if TFC valued Arthas overall as the Illidan counter. It's a solo lane hero for them. And they wanted to make sure that they had Cassia to deal with Illidan as well, which meant there's no way that Cassia would make it through the second bans. It's been banned so much every single time a team has Illidan at that point, or even wants to be able to draft Illidan in the next rotation. So they had to allow Uther to go through, and this may be a potential point of punishment, especially since CE is now banning out one potential follow-up for the Stitches hook.
And for exactly that reason, I would have probably preferred Uther over Cassia, because Cassia is fantastic against Illidan when you get the lockdown. But with Uther, you have, first of all, a great tool against Illidan with the normal stun, the Benediction double stun, and also the potential Divine Storm. And on top of that, you have the follow-up 4 Stitches outside of the Arthas Howling Blast. So the lockdown potential and CC that you get out of it would have been so good, I would not have passed up on that.
I don't mind them going this route, though, where they ban out the Lenara instead. Now they put CE in a spot where it's say you either get Rhaegar or Uther, and we get the other two. Rhaegar, probably the weaker of the two with that Cassia, but at least you have a spot where you have Rhaegar, who excels on 1, Shire, because you want to work on those mercenary controls, and 2, you have 2 tanks that can benefit from him, and he's decent enough with Cassia to give her at least a little bit of appeal with that totem to where she can kite backwards and get those blinds on Illidan. So not bad choices left for them, and they get whatever support that is left over.
Well, we're going to find out in a second what exactly they're going to go for when it comes to supports, but with them banning out Malfurion, it's very clear that they already have an idea of what they want here. For me, really the question is, what is going to be their front line? What are they going to pick for their tank? Especially now that we have Tyrael taken away. Uther locked down, and oh boy, Nazebo taken. That wasn't quite what I expected.
Check some notes here, because there is one team in China who plays a lot of Toad build Nazebo. I don't think it's this team.
TFC themselves have played Nazebo in the past, but I haven't seen much from CE, so this is a bit on the newer side. And you were speaking about those late game heroes that you want to get to, as you assume that you can at least get there, and it being Shire, and Nazebo is definitely one of those that you can make sure you get to that 13, that 16, and even 20 where those power spikes come online.
I mean, he is the definition of a late game hero. To an extent where we have seen several regions that picked Nazebo and just had one game plan. Make it to 20, no matter what.
They pick up Ragnaros and just delay. Team FaceCheck, now thinking about their 4th and 5th pick. And I like the Nazebo into a Cassia. Cassia usually has a hard time actually pushing in and getting forts, especially towards that mid-game due to her lack of range. So that does become a bigger issue when you have spiders being chunked at your face constantly and puts a lot of pressure on the support.
Hopefully not a Superstition versus that Cassia. Rhaegar and Brightwing, double support, double warrior, and Cassia composition from TFC.
I really wonder right now how they're going to run this. Brightwing on a solo lane up top is not going to have any fun. That's not going to happen, so we're probably going to talk about 2 heroes trying to hold that down.
I am scared for Team FaceCheck. Is that a proper response?
Scared is a good word for it, I think.
I can see a world where they break down the bottom 4, maybe get some pressure on the middle 4, and control Mercenaries pretty well. But there's enough wave clear on the right side here for CE. They have split pressure that they can really pull off. They have Tassadar Uther, who is a pretty deadly combo against Cassia as the main damage dealer.
Yeah, it seems strange. It does seem sort of like a game we saw earlier where a Brightwing and another pick was forced up to the top, but that ended up not going well for the team that ended up putting that Brightwing in the top lane.
Well, we're going to find out how exactly they're going to lane it here. Maybe that Arthur's at that solo lane to the top for Team FaceCheck. We're going to find out soon. To the left side in game number 3, we currently have them in blue. The Taiwanese team with a double front line. Stitches, Arthur's, Rhaegar Brightwing for the heals, and Cassia for the damage as a counter to Illidan.
On the right side in the red, it's going to be CE here with Uther, Tassadar, that Illidan, Muradin, as well as Nazebo. And I think if you look at Team Face Check, if there is a world where CE walks straight into the middle of the lane and tries to force fights constantly against Arthas and Cassia, sure, they can win team fights. But what if CE just delays until late game?
I think this is definitely one of the things that they're going to try and do. I would not be shocked to see Arthas take over the top lane and have a 4-man with the 2 supports, Brightwing maybe jumping to the top every now and then. But first of all, we have a massive brawl in the mid lane. Nobody falling here, especially of course not on the side of Team Face Check, currently relying on double support. And on top of that, extra sustain on Stitches and Arthas. They're a very sustainable comp here.
Yeah, that they are. And Team Face Check missing on that hook did proc CE to move in for that fight. The Stormbolt did not connect from Wind, which would have been enough to maybe get Cassia low on health. Regardless, no team loses a hero, and they both head to lanes. And for now, this is something that we've been seeing very often as of late. The 2-1-2, Tassadar and Illidan in the top lane.
Exactly. Tassadar and Illidan are fantastic. And as expected, it is actually Arthas who goes up to top. And now we have with Brightwing also a little bit of additional support. So this is definitely something where you can win out and put the pressure onto Illidan in particular. But also we have with Cassia, now one of the heroes, that can start to make a bit of a play here if that hook comes in. And they're already looking for it, but a good dodge by Shire.
Shire dodging that hook, very pivotal for them. If that had landed, you could see a totem come out, and then right away you'll have that Fend coming in from Cassia, and Nazebo may have fallen. So make sure to dodge those hooks are the #1 priority for CE. KT4 though can't dodge the storm bolts. Here comes another stun. Shire and crew get him low.
Yeah, because they have maybe a bit of a body block on the side of Muradin here, but I like it. Free damage against Stitches, that already helps them. Up at the top, we have one of the shrines under the control of Team Face Check, and Illidan is very little impressed from Virgil here. We have 2 heroes on the lane, so Tassadar can take over the shrine, helps out Illidan, and Illidan is doing what he does best. He goes straight into the lane and starts to drop the towers and drain the ammunition.
Needs to be slightly careful here, but on the next wave after healing up, Paradise should be able to move in for that turret. And Garnet Devil, aware of this, has brought his Brightwing all the way top lane to help out with that fight that will be occurring. Now, in a 2v3, Rhaegar and Cassia can actually do pretty well, and right now it's a 2v1, so they'll be pushing in that Uther and working on the turret while Nazebo had to head back home, healing up, and get that mana.
Yeah, Nazebo is definitely a hero that we have to watch out for here. And Shire now on a ranged hero gives me a lot of confidence for CE in particular. But we have up at the top lane this fierce battle once again between Brightwing Arthas and Tassadar Illidan, as even Wind on Muradin now makes his way over to assist with the Stormbolt.
The moment that CE reveals there is 3 people on the top lane, Rhaegar moves over and grabs that mercenary camp. This is why you pick Rhaegar. He can go ahead and move to a lane by himself, clear it out, and grab those giants. And that will help bolster this push in the bottom lane that CE will have to expect at some point.
Yeah, and rather sooner than later, because this push that we see at the bot lane can be devastating for CE. Team Face Check is already ahead in experience, but now it's also 2 shrines in their favor. So Wind in the mid lane has to hold down the fort very much alone here, as the only hero that deals with the bot lane push currently is Nazebo. Well, he's assisted by a healer at least, so Uther is helping out a little bit, but this is still a high pressure situation for CE.
Kind of a good note for Muradin being in the middle, especially with him grabbing that 3rd win at level 1. He can afford to be over-aggressive and take ineffective trades just to make sure that Dragon is not grabbed while his teammates work in the top lane to grab the shrine back, and they have done so. In fact, Paradise getting to a point where he's feeling a little bit on the cocky side, even moving into turrets and diving in.
One of the big problems that we really have up at the top for Team Face Check is that they're slowly losing the lane. Since all of the towers are drained of ammunition, one of them already extremely low. So in the long run, this is a battle that CE is going to win quite handily. And that's a massive, massive issue here for them. So as we see Paradise starting to pressure this in even more, the bot lane is also assailed as Cassia is trying to push Shire and aloof fullback. But Rhaegar is doing what Rhaegar does. We talked about it earlier, mentioned it about the Siege Shrine camp. He's again on the mercenary camp, this time trying to claim the bottom of the map.
I'm getting worried here for Team Face Check. First off, how do they relieve this pressure on the top lane? Who do they actually send up there to stop that? If you look at the options, Stitches doesn't do much. So what you should do is try to counter pressure on the bottom lane, and then they have yet to get anything to really break out for them. Kim finally comes in looking for a kill on Nazebo, but Shire is able to walk away.
Aloof Fool going full boss mode here, going straight in for the stuns, the heals, keeping Shire alive, doing a fantastic job with it. But at the top lane, as we pointed out several times already, this is a losing matchup. Thankfully for Team FaceCheck, they make up for it by dominating the bottom lane. And this is mainly thanks to Rega, who has taken so many of the mercenary camps already to apply the extra pressure that finally allows them to break through the wall.
But they have had to get Giants and Knights just to equal out what Illidan and Tassadar has done on the top. In fact, Illidan and Tassadar are making plays for the fort. Ostinger low on health, the wall, locking him in. Ostinger trying to retreat with 2 supports. He should be okay.
Yeah, but Uther is not. There goes the Lightbringer. He's down. I really like what Shire did on the other hand with the zombie wall, not focusing it on the target but just behind it. So there was only 2 options. Either you get trapped by the entirety of the zombie wall or you try and move out and find yourself entrapped in it. So really well done by Nazeebo, but Uther fallen victim here as they didn't really expect the 3rd hero to make an appearance.
Oh, but Team FaceCheck finally making some plays here as they take out a couple of members and get a 2nd kill on Nazeebo. And they can start to break down that wall on the bottom, which allows Brightwing to be freed up ahead of the top lane. But is it enough to defend the fort? Looking like a no.
Yeah, that's the end of the fort here, but also level 10 has been reached by Team FaceCheck. Can they use it to make maybe a play for the fort here? Doesn't look like it. Nice dodge by Ostinger on his Cassia as Wind jumps in with a Storm Ball, Murden. But we will soon have level 10 available for CE as well, and that is going to trigger another potential team fight. As in the middle of the map, we are seeing now a double Shrine, giving a potential Dragonite over to Team FaceCheck, but already 2 heroes making sure to prevent it.
10 is here, and that'll be helpful. KT using even the hunt here to stop Citrus from getting past the wall, and they will save him, but Kim comes in for the body block. Brightwing coming in for a gank. You don't normally see that happen, but Uther will fall.
Aloof Fool is down. I really like what we saw from Rega, by the way. That was extremely cool. What happened there is we saw, first of all, Stitches go for the Gorge and trying to get the target behind the wall. Illidan realizes it immediately and says, I have the hunt, I have to go in, I have to stun him, even if it's just for half a second to make sure that he doesn't get behind the wall. But Rega is in the area, drops the cleanse on him just to prevent that stun, and then nearly we're seeing Stitches carry the target behind the wall for a guaranteed kill. But Illidan with the body blocks is able to prevent it. But then on the way back, they are not able to escape because Garnet Devil on Brightwing turns it into a 3 versus 2.
Well, they've gotten a few kills and they've netted a little bit of an experience lead, but they have yet to net out a dragon. CE has delayed enough throughout the entire game here. And now it all comes to CE thinking about what they need to move towards, and that's at level 20. I'm sure they're counting it down. 9 more levels, 8 more levels as they continue to level up.
Another big point here is also that they still hold on to the fort at the bot lane. So in infrastructure, they are ahead now, but Cassia is giving them a bit of trouble here once again. Here comes the wall. Gary is being used like a gunshot, moving his way in. Divine Shield. Aloof Fool is just making, I mean, he's really keeping them in the game right now.
Team Captain Alooful helping out the team as much as he can here. Wind gets low on health, but with the hook already being down, he'll just jump away and says thank you. Gets a heal there from Aloof as well, and Aloof just everywhere right now.
Yeah, he's going straight in once again. Now in an ideal world, the Emerald Wind would make a kill a reality, and it looks like this is going to happen as Tassadar is gorged and trying to move away, but immediately being dropped here. Great kill by Team FaceCheck. 4 kills against 0. And we have to point it out again. It's the same pattern that we have seen in game number 1, in game number 2. It's the late game where we are really worried about the blue team.
Team FaceCheck hoping not to get to that late game as they'll use the first dragon of the game here after 8 minutes to push down the fort in the middle, and they are getting aggressive, breaking it down as quickly as possible, and they'll have the opportunity to rotate bottom and work on that fort as well. So 2 of them can be great as they jump in experience.
Illidan, in the meantime, was still up at the top, gaining some experience for them, but will soon make his way over into the middle. And Team FaceCheck now dropping the second fort. So the first Dragonite they get really helps them to not only equalize the amount of infrastructure on the map, but even get them a little bit ahead here. Good hook against Shire. Cassia tries to capitalize on it. Not quite happening yet, but we have Nazeebo turning around, and those spiders are getting nasty.
Those spiders can certainly chunk a Cassia there. She gets a block there, which is good against physical damage, but of course those spiders, they nibble away with the magic ability. Now, at the same time, a Gorge hits.
Gorge being hit, they can't, and immediately moving back. So far, so good, but he's not out of it just yet. Where's Aloof Fool? Once again, he's the hero that they need and deserve as he saves Tassadar.
games, please. This guy will go out of the way to make sure his teammates don't fall.
Everybody should have an aloof.
Everyone should have an aloof. Try to be like aloof, man. He is the guy that will definitely keep you up and moving around. And he does save that Tassadar. Tassadar is able to get out for the fight. They rotate around, put pressure on the top lane, and only 2 forts down for CE. But the major thing is get to late game and keep keeps. And so far, they still have both those check marks.
Yeah, he's absolutely doing fantastic when it just keeps keeping allies alive. They have lost 4 heroes in this game, and if not for him, it would have at least be double digits already. That guy is just everywhere. But again, when we're talking about this game, we're talking a lot about the potential level 20, and Team Face Check, they know that as well. If you're going up against Nazeebo, you want to punish in the early game, and they are doing everything they can to make it happen. But now CE sees a chance. There are sharks in the water. They want to go for a kill as they move in with a hunt, but Right Wing already going straight for the Emerald Win.
Glenn the Toon Ancestral will keep alive that Cassie. At the same time, Win is in the back line here, sitting on top of Ostinger, trying to prevent the damage from being effective. KT4 grabs a Gorge.
Gorge already being used here. KD4 getting Illidan out of the fight for just a moment. Muradin in trouble. Win jumping out. And again, it's Tassadar that needs to use the dimensional shift. Here come the blinds. Illidan still rocking the party here against Ostinger on Cassia. Everybody moving away. The Wind has basically negative hit points at this moment. He has nothing. Here comes the Iceberg on Shire, but he is the one falling. Team Face Check again successful.
A long 30-second fight with 1 kill finally coming out on Nazeebo, but Team Face Check, they can't afford to continue pushing in that bottom lane. They have to go deal with that top lane pressure that is pushing into their keep walls. So they back up and grab Mercs instead.
Yeah, they grab the Mercs, and we have Illidan making a rotation, grabbing some extra experience in the middle of the map. They accept that they are behind, and they are just trying to slowly close the gap in experience. Face Check grabbing 16 any moment, and with another Dragon Knight being announced, the Shrines being announced on the map, this is giving another big opportunity for Team Face Check to take the objective and maybe even push for the keep at the bot lane.
6 more levels. CE thinking about it. That level 20 coming in, man. Will they be able to get towards that area as the next dragon is available? 6-14, as you were mentioning. Wind in the middle dealing with Virgil, but Paradise, they want to fight.
There was a Gorge at the bottom that was happening. And guess what? Aloof once again with the Divine Shield here. Him moving out. Illidan goes in as well. They fight against the level 16 talents here. Aloof Fool is in trouble. Ice Block already being used on the side of Brightwing, but Uther is down. The Ancestral hits. Paradise is low. And the Howling Blast against Shire. Arthur's not going to let him get away here. Wind running, trying to escape. And the shield of Tassadar is most likely not going to let Nazeebo survive here. Tassadar himself has to indeed be careful.
Team Face Check making a play here for the keep, and it feels like it's the right one. With Uther not up for 12 more seconds and Nazeebo not here for another 30, defense will be a bit difficult for CE when they have an Illidan on the field, especially a Muradin who doesn't really bring the most wave clear. They turn around though and try to apply as much damage as they can. Wind is low.
Wind is really low, and he's about to fall. He's just barely jumping out, but killed mid-hop. At this point, it's just always hook into Howling Blast and the caster damage. The coordination is so good on side of Team Face Check, but it is Stitches who falls as we see the re-initiation on the side of Illidan with a hunt.
Uther will fall as well. Zayu and Paradise holding for the moment. 16 is close. They're threatening to go in for an engage as Nazeebo has just spawned. They have to be careful though. Garnet Devil having the polymorph back up will allow for Team Face Check to turn the fight around.
Paradise jumping in and out the entire time. The level 16 so close now. But Team Face Check is really starting to get ahead in experience. They're ahead by 1.5 levels, nearly 2 at this point. So another Dragon Knight could really become a reality once they hit level 20. They have taken the keep at the bot lane, and they're really, once again, the team that makes the plays, the team that dictates the pace of the game, and they have been relentlessly pushing, especially with them always hitting hook into Howling Blast, into Cassia damage. They prepare so many kills. It was only Aloof Fool on the Uther that kept CE in the game thus far.
Best performance so far here from Team Face Check. Another engage will happen on Shire in the bottom right, slightly overextended. Ice Block being used, Aloof low on health. He does have Divine Shield. He uses it on Nazeebo. Wind comes in to try and slow down the fight. Aloof will live.
Unbelievable. Aloof gets out of the fight, joins again to help his allies out, but of course they are going to try and kill him. He keeps nearly everybody alive here, but the hooks are hitting and they're hitting hard. Once again, the Gorge being used on the side of Stitches. Austin is already low. This could be the kill against Cassia, and indeed it is. Cassia is down, so is Uther, but now he has the heals and he's using them. Illidan is falling though, and that's the problem, but Rhaegar is also eliminated. This is the slaughter, Trixler.
Archon comes out, Zayu turns it around, KT4 also taking damage. They're cutting forward into Giants and Mercs, but it doesn't matter. Wind keeps moving forward. Garnet Devil, the only member left for Team FaZe Check and CE will clean up this fight.
Where's the Stormbolt? He doesn't have the mana, but Brightwing is still falling, taking Brightwing down, and it's a full team wipe. And all of a sudden, we're looking at level 18 versus level 18. And again, first of all, Lufu, how does he survive in that fight? Then he comes back in, sacrifices himself once again, gets the cooldowns, keeps everyone alive there, and they turn it around. Of course, it's not only him making these plays and winning these fights, but the impact that he currently has in this game cannot be understated.
I think we're watching as a star is being born before our eyes right now. CE and Aloof can be very happy with how he is performing, and look at this. For the first time in the game, CE will take a nice experience lead, hitting 19 first. They're breaking down turret walls and moving straight towards level 20.
And they're all at the bot lane in the meantime, busy taking out additional structures. This is where they're currently making their plays. And as you said, they take over the experience lead. And they are the team that is heading into 20 so much more aggressively now. And this is exactly where CE wants to be. This is a late game team composition, especially around a hero like Nazeebo.
Nazeebo about to hit that 20. Ooh, but KT makes the big play. He grabs Illidan. The polymorph needs to be instant. He gets it. Also goes up to the engage. But the divine shield from Aloof over the wall. Aloof, I love you!
Oh god, as Tim is trying to marry Aloof, we are seeing the Dragon Knight still in the middle here. I mean, it is a couple of sexy plays that we are seeing, no doubt about that. It's like every time he sees someone in trouble, he's just like, alright boys, I got my big boy pants on today. I got this.
His beard is too manly for me, man. CE and
That's quite the statement.
level 20 have set up. They have saved their Illidan, and they're in a spot where they've broken down the wall on the bottom. At this point, Team FaZe Check will have to wait for another hook before they make a play, but Cassia all by herself at the bottom. What are you doing? Gets locked down.
There comes Brightwing with the Emerald Wind. Cassia is still alive. The question is for how long. Rhaegar moves in with the Ancestral and keeps her alive a little bit longer. Illidan goes down instead. The fight is turned around. The 20 is there for CE. They need to start poking with Shire, but they are in full retreat right now. Archon being used as well, but just look at Wind on Muradin. He's desperately trying to stay alive, hops in and out, but we have hungry Stitches being used as we see him moving in, getting the damage. Uther down once again, has redemption. This is just chaos.
Bringing up the heal at the same time. Shy's being locked down. Will it not be enough healing here? Kim gets low. Shy barely staying alive. Aloof comes back, brings out one more heal, but Shy, he finally falls. But Zayu at the same time on Archon. It's a bloodbath.
It definitely is. The Archon is just getting damage after damage point in. This is so brutal here, but now Xayah has no Aloof anymore. And no Aloof, no win.
No Aloof, no win, indeed. And a win might be available here for Team FaZe Check. 10 more seconds until Illidan is up. They're moving in straight for the core. They have Cassia on the back left. She's fully healed for the moment.
Emerald Wind is ready. They don't have Rhaegar. But here comes Wind. Illidan is back, but it's 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Here comes the hunt. They're trying to go for Cassia. Emerald Wind already being used as we see Team FaZe Check going for it. They go for the core. It's looking good for the team.
Oh,
here
the hungry
comes the
Stitches.
Gorge. He is so hungry. He wanted playtime. He got it. And he has not only a temper, but also a pretty big stomach. Eating all of them. And this is going to be the first game for Team FaZe Check.
What an incredible match between both of our teams, and Team FaZe Check hangs in there, getting a victory here. The amazing Stitches play towards the end. Aloof himself couldn't stop that game from becoming a win here for Team FaZe Check.
TFC understood that they had the laning mismatch, so they drafted that Brightwing to make sure that they could force CE into a 2-1-2, and then they got so much done because Tassadar wasn't there to enable the rest of the mid-bot rotations. Tass had to help out Illidan in the top, and then they were able to force that bottom, and once they took that fort down, they never let go. They made sure they always had a mercenary camp or something pushing there. And we're going to take a look at the bloodbath
I thought
once
this
again.
was a mistake, but look at it. It seemed like a bait.
Yeah, Ostinger gets so freaking low, but the Emerald Wind was amazing, first of all, and then got back. The double support keeps Ostinger basically giving a second chance to fend back in, which takes out Illidan. But I'm just waiting for the hungry Stitches. Suyu did a lot, though, with his Archon, the splash damage here, and that's why the Storm Shield was ultimately important from Rhaegar, so that he could get through that This was nuts.
Best part about that entire Hungry Stitches is he waited for Murden to move in for the engage and use the Hardened shield there. And then he moved out of the back line and made sure to slow down the entire fight so that Hardened shield would go away and they would pop out every single member. I love the patience.
I mean, the only thing that you could have really done from hindsight being 2020, once you realize Cassia is not going to fall here, immediately move back and say, we have to just poke. But having the discipline to actually do that in a situation where you have Cassia already that low is so incredibly difficult. Then Illidan engages. That's the moment when the Ancestral comes through, and all of a sudden he's like, boys, I think I'm screwed.
Yeah.
In the middle of 5 heroes, you get locked down. Cassia says, thank you very much, I got this. And losing after you've just come back in the game, after you just managed to get 20, have finally Nazeebo online, and then you see that one kill doesn't work out, and then you're like, I guess we're losing the game right now.
Yeah, you can see the panic that happens for CE when they are very understanding of when they start to get the momentum back, but they know they're still behind, right? They know that after they get that initial momentum, they won that fight, they were so hoping that they could get the next picks that would let them keep going even further and just carry that momentum forward. But this time, it was enough for TFC to realize, hey, this is a fight we actually can win. Even though it's late game, even though they have Nazeebo, it was the difference. Being able to keep Ostinger alive was everything.
It was incredibly well played on their part. For me, again, Lou stands out, but TFC, they played a fantastic game there. They had so much pressure at the bot lane. I love the pressure plays. And you're an awesome team if you pick Hungry Stitches.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that there.
Can't go wrong with that, for
KT4,
sure.
man, you know he was smirking while he was bringing out that Hungry Stitches, landing it on multiple members there. And looking at TFC now, this should be a moment where they get life breathed into them here. They have now gotten to a moment where they were on the verge of being knocked out of the tournament, but they turned around a team fight. And not only that, before that, just like in game 1 and game number 2, they were looking decisive. This has been their best game in terms of rotations and kills so far. So going into game number 4, if they keep warming up, they might be able to make a reverse sweep happen.
Yeah, there was another game where this exact same thing happened, and I was really concerned for TFC, and that was drafting the Brightwing to change up the laning setup in Dragonshire. But the way TFC were able to handle it, picking apart CE so they didn't get the traditional 1-4, and then controlling the bottom lane, getting the keep earlier on, so once they did win that one late game team fight, all they needed was one decisive as they were able to win, put them in a spot to finally get a win in the series.
And they have the first win now on Dragonshire, but we are ready with the next map that has been